In the shadowy corridors of Five Poppies, an exclusive European resort nestled among the rolling hills outside Paris, a ghost is walking the halls, a ghost the world believes was cremated months ago. Britt Westbourne, long thought dead after a vicious stabbing by Heather Weber, is very much alive, though her existence is cloaked in secrecy and denial. Her reappearance is not merely a fluke of fate, but the product of a deliberate vanishing act. A disappearance born from desperation, trauma, and something far more dangerous than death, truth. No one knows why Britt is hiding, and even fewer people realize she has returned to the world under the most fragile of disguises. Her life, once defined by chaos and lineage, now teeters between anonymity and confrontation as she attempts to keep her cover intact at a resort crawling with secrets, spies, and shadows from her past. But her plans unravel the moment she lays eyes on Jocelyn Jacques. Now under a different name and persona, and the man posing as her husband, Vaughn. Britt's survival remains an unsolved riddle. After sacrificing herself to save Jocelyn from Heather's deadly attack, using her metal briefcase to deflect the infamous hook, Britt collapsed in what appeared to be her final moments. Her mother, Liesl Albrecht, devastated, brought what she believed to be Britt's lifeless body to the morgue and later arranged for her cremation. But somewhere along that macabre chain of events, something shifted. Perhaps Liesl discovered a faint pulse, perhaps someone intervened before the fire. Whatever the case, Britt didn't die. Whether Liesl knew the truth and helped orchestrate the elaborate deception, or was herself manipulated, remains unclear, but one fact is inescapable: Britt disappeared into thin air and has now resurfaced in the unlikeliest of places. Why would Britt want the world to think she was dead? Some speculate she's hiding from an enemy she's too terrified to name. Others believe her brush with death created a psychological fracture that made re-entering her old life impossible. But whatever the reason, Britt has no intention of going back, at least not yet. She's working in a secret lab connected to the resort, her movements tightly controlled by Pascal, a mysterious figure who seems to be a glorified concierge on the surface, but whose allegiance likely lies with someone, or something more sinister. Britt is given limited freedom, confined mostly to her suite, watched like a prized possession rather than a guest. Her confinement becomes untenable when she crosses paths with Jocelyn and Vaughn. She hadn't expected to see anyone from Port Charles, least of all Jocelyn Jacques, in this quiet European haven. But there she is, Jocelyn, older, confident, and clearly not on vacation. She's booked under an assumed name and checked into the honeymoon suite with a man who looks more like her handler than a husband. Vaughn, a WSB agent operating deep undercover, is assigned to Jocelyn, who is herself a fledgling recruit now thrust into the world of espionage. Their appearance at Five Poppies isn't coincidence, it's part of a mission, one that likely intersects with the secrets Britt is trying to protect. Britt's instinct is to run. But something stops her. Maybe it's curiosity, maybe guilt, maybe the lingering bond she still feels with Jocelyn after saving her life. Regardless, she knows she cannot be recognized. If Jocelyn realizes who she is, it will shatter the fragile facade Britt has constructed. Not only would it ruin her secrecy, but it would unravel the carefully controlled narrative she's been feeding Pascal and whoever he reports to. Worse still, it might draw Jason Morgan into the picture, something Britt isn't prepared to face. Jason, for his part, is already on the move. Following a trail of whispered leads and suspicious inconsistencies about Britt's death, he makes a call to the Five Poppies resort. Britt intercepts it. She recognizes his voice immediately, a sound that cuts through her like a scalpel. His presence in Paris could mean salvation or disaster. Jason believes Liesl had no part in Britt's survival, but the truth may be murkier. Britt had her reasons for staging her death, and for staying buried. But now those reasons are under siege. Unable to trust anyone, Britt considers hacking into Pascal's computer system. If she can find out what Jocelyn and Vaughn are doing at the resort, perhaps she can stay a step ahead. But the deeper she digs, the more unstable the ground becomes. She discovers Jocelyn's alias and learns they've been assigned the honeymoon suite, a room often reserved for strategic pairings rather than romance. Vaughn, significantly older than Jocelyn, reminds Britt uncomfortably of her own complicated family legacy, of how Liesl once loved Caesar Faison, a man many years her senior and deeply twisted. Britt sees echoes of danger in Vaughn's too-perfect demeanor and wonders if Jocelyn is a pawn in a larger scheme. Complicating matters further, Britt finds herself at odds with Pascal. He isn't just a gatekeeper of hotel amenities, he's a handler, a monitor, a leash. When she demands a vehicle to leave the resort under the pretense of a supply run for her lab, Pascal denies her request. Britt knows she's being watched and recorded, every move catalogued for reasons that still elude her. But she also knows she's running out of options. If Jason arrives before she can escape or explain, everything she's worked for, whatever that may be, will implode. The question that haunts her is simple: what is she doing here? Her lab work is important, yes, but what lies beneath that mission? Is she working on something scientific, or is she part of something much larger, something the WSB is trying to either protect or destroy? The very existence of 5 Poppies suggests a layer of operations far beyond standard intelligence work. The resort is a front, a playground for the elite and the corrupt, a prison disguised as paradise. Meanwhile, Jocelyn is beginning to suspect that something is off. Vaughn has been evasive. Their cover is thin. She feels eyes on her constantly. Her argument with Carly before leaving Port Charles still lingers in her mind, her mother's warnings about Vaughn being too old, too smooth, too rehearsed. Carly had feared Vaughn wasn't who he claimed to be, and Jocelyn had dismissed those concerns. But now, surrounded by luxury and secrecy, Jocelyn sees that Carly may have been right. As Vaughn takes a suspicious phone call near the spa, Jocelyn follows a gut instinct and wanders into a hallway she wasn't supposed to enter. She nearly bumps into Britt. For a moment, their eyes meet. Time freezes. Recognition sparks, brief, incomplete, but electric. Britt ducks away, heart racing. Jocelyn stands frozen, not entirely sure what she saw but unable to shake the feeling that something in her mission has just changed. Elsewhere, Jason is already in Paris. He stands at the airport with his own bag bearing the 5 Poppies logo. He's traced Britt here. He's felt it in his bones that she's alive. And now, closer than ever, he must decide whether he's ready to find out why she left, and whether the woman he once knew can ever come back. Back at the resort, Britt stares at her own reflection, hands trembling as she wipes sweat from her brow. Every corner of 5 Poppies is filled with ghosts, secrets, and betrayals. And the return of Jason, the presence of Jocelyn, and the dark truth about Vaughn threaten to unravel a web that has taken months, perhaps years, to weave. Britt must make a choice: expose the truth, face the past, or vanish for good. The resort's walls are closing in, and no one, not even the dead, can hide forever.